Hello, welcome to the Wellness Lab podcast. We have Derrick today here. He will enlighten us with lots of information that will be helpful for anyone listening to us about mindset for any athletes and how Unrise is making a change. Before we get started, I'll just remind the audience the content we're providing it helps to enrich your lives, to provide some educational content that will make you be better from an overall well-being perspective. And then I'll pass it over to you, Derek, to give us a quick intro about yourself, and then give us some background of your professional career. I know you have gone through that athlete component, which is critical on what you're doing and how you're supporting others. And you have lots of experience from a speaker perspective, author, entrepreneur. So it's a very well-rounded profile that you have. Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you for having me. Excited. So is
My
my
pleasure.
goal you giving it to me?
So to give us like a quick
Oh, gotcha.
overview, a run
I
through
got
on
you.
your background. Yeah, perfect.
Gotcha. Easy peasy. So Derrick Furlow Jr., born and raised Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, moved around a lot as a kid, touched a couple different states, made it to the University of Tennessee via coming out of Arkansas, where I played football at the University of Tennessee. And in that journey there, that's when I seen the importance of the life after sports transition with our peers that came before me, and then going through my own transition. Had a short stint professionally, and then at that point was able to get into the world of entrepreneurship and sales because I wanted to change my family's financial future, and I thought that honestly, where I grew up in Southwest Atlanta, you all can do that by either playing sports, being a rapper, or selling drugs. And I was exposed to professional industries where you can make more income and didn't have to do those things once the game was over for me, and was able to have some success in the sales world and pioneer some things in the entrepreneur world that we're doing now with Unrise. And at that point, been a chance, have having the chance to now impact, inspire, and empower athletes to help them in their life after sports transition, along with their mental health journey as well. So that's what got me here today.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing your story. And I do love, we're sharing below your website links for Unrise, your personal one, and your social handles for anyone who is interested to learn more and follow you. And I really loved what you are sharing about your personal story and this phrase that you have: others don't let others determine your success, which is critical, I find, especially when you're on probably information youth stage. There's lots of peer pressure, there's lots of components that come into play, and obviously mental health, the right mindset, it's a game changer for either like an athlete career or even for your life. It's really important to have that in mind. And it's great you are sharing with others your story, helping others become better and be prepared for any type of situation with the right tools in place. So thanks for that, Derek. I'm happy to hear your trajectory and then the journey you've had. It helps a lot when you hear the story from someone that has gone through specific challenges, and you might be able to resonate. Like I, for myself, I resonate with what you have been sharing. And I know there's lots of youth, either listeners or parents, that will be really interested to learn more about how you're supporting others and resources you have at hand. There's lots of things you provide as well through your website, through OnRise. So feel free to dive into any specific things that you find will be relevant for their support, or how they can get like the first step to go into that mental health portion, mindset component, which is critical.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I believe you said it earlier. Others don't determine your success. I think that's called the odds. I made the acronym because I know growing up where I grew up, you got a lot of odds against you, especially just just being in America. From my perspective, black male, the odds are against you. So I knew that early. So one of the biggest things I had to realize was just because things were necessarily not in my favor don't mean I necessarily couldn't have the success I wanted. So it took a mindset. It took resilience. It took the idea of believing in myself, and then the idea of just doing the work and knowing that, hey, things might not be fair. So when that process started to work for me per se, or just putting that work in and just knowing I could bet on myself and not be determined or not be dictated by what people say or what the world say you should, could, maybe be able to do. I think that came down to really helping cultivate and shape the mindset. And when it comes down to a lot of dreams that you're chasing in your own personal life, whether financial life, spiritual life, whatever that may be, there are always going to be obstacles in the way. And I'm just a firm believer that if your mind ain't right, your grind ain't right. So the mindset part of all the things allow you to lock in and focus and control the controllables and realize there's going to be the good with the bad, the up with the downs, and that everything is not going to go in your favor, but you can still get to where you want to go if you're willing to put in the work and stay focused and deal with those emotional things that come along the journey or the challenges that come along the journey, because the good is going to come with the bad, the up is going to come with the downs. However, once you understand that and don't get so caught up in my journey looks harder than someone else's because we don't know what their journey is, I think anything is achievable. I actually posted a quote today, and it was because where I'm from, we use a lot of terms like getting it out the mud, meaning you had to get it from the bottom. You had to go figure it out. And I was on a call a couple of days ago, and actually it was in person. This wasn't even on a call. This was in person with one of my other teammates, and he's going through some transitions now, and he's older. And he was just comparing, he's just transitioning now, and he's 38 versus guys that transitioned earlier. He felt like he's a little behind. And I had just let him know. I said, look, bro, at the end of the day, we all got it out the mud. The mud just looked different. Like your mud looked different from my mud. Like you might have had red clay and it was thicker. I might have had brown mud and it was muddier or waterier and it was runnier. But at the end of the day, we still had to get it out the mud. So the challenges are going to be the challenges. So I can't compare my journey, my obstacles, my advancement and say, I wish I would have had your route, because I don't know what challenges you had along your route. So that's why I believe the mindset and the mental part plays a big, big role. And that happens in sport, outside of sport. If you're a human being, the mindset plays a role. I think one of the best things sports did for me was allow me to get more reps in thinking about my mindset, get more reps in controlling my mindset, get more reps in how I'm going to refocus the good that comes with the bad and how I'm going to reattack the different challenges that came in a sports perspective. So once that sporting opportunity came to an end, I realized it's the exact same thing in real life, except for I was fortunate enough, I get a chance to practice handling adversity and practice overcoming adversity and practice handling challenges in sports. But when you get into the real world, a lot of those things you don't get to practice. They just happen and you respond how you respond. And if you don't respond accordingly, some people, they'll dig themselves into deeper holes, which just because they mentally weren't prepared for that adversity or that challenge to hit. So that's one of the biggest blessings about playing sports and the mental part of the game. Everyone don't get it out the gate. It takes time to hone that mindset and to practice the mental agility. But if you are able to realize that, hey, sports gives you a unfair advantage, and those things that you learn in sports help cultivate your mindset and help you persevere as a human being once you are no longer in that sporting environment, it can set you in position to win in another phase of life and business. And that's one of the things I like to help athletes do and recognize, and business people and entrepreneurs do and recognize, just from whether they play sports or not. And that's one of the cool things we get a chance to do at Unrise outside of helping the athletes in their day-to-day journey, is helping set that mindset. Because like I said earlier, if your mind ain't right, your grind ain't right. And sports give you a great opportunity to help work on that mental strength.
Thanks, Derek. Thanks for providing your insights, and as well that knowledge that you're sharing from a mindset perspective helps everyone. As you say, like not only athletes, it can be entrepreneurs, it can be anyone at different stages in life. Like you have your, as you said on your post, like there's small wins, and those small wins start to build, create momentum, and then you get like these big wins you are looking for and the progress. And it's important to keep on mind, as you say, like that's your very own personal focus development, and you'll get there. There's no need to think or compare to others, because everyone is in their very own journey. So important to keep that really clear. And one of the things that you have mentioned is the part of supporting others. It can be specific, let's say for youth, and they're doing they're focused on their athlete performance and whatnot, but it's also for professionals that are coaching teams. Is that also applicable?
So yeah, so from a what we do at Unrise, we provide mental health resources for elite athletes. So we started at pro because we know that's the end all be all where everyone wants to go, and then we opened up college because that's a pipeline to get you to going pro, and then we went to elite youth. So when it comes down to it, we know there's going to be a lot of elite youth that don't make it to college. Then we know there's going to be a good amount that's in college that don't make it pro. So when it comes down to the resources in the program, and when it comes down to the mental side of the game, on top of the sports piece, they're still human beings. So they still got to go with the day-to-day challenges. On top of the pressure to perform, learning the skills, the stage, the platform, the betting pressures. They still got to deal with the human element of family. Some of them got to deal with the human element of finances. Some of us still got to deal with the human element of academics and grades, and those things might be challenging to them. So we understand that it's going to touch people differently wherever they at in the journey, and we just want to make sure we're able to be that resource. So Unrise is a B2B company, so we partner with teams, leagues, player organizations, and they pay for those services for their athletes, their professional athletes, or their student athletes. So those athletes can get the access to these resources completely free. And when it comes down to it, we found that there was a reason, or just the old traditional model didn't work specifically for athletes. So when you take a look at it, traditional model, you can use insurance, or hey, I'm available from 9 to 5, or hey, the team hired me, I work for the team, or hey, I'm a therapist, but there's lack of diversity in that profession from a therapist perspective. So a lot of athletes that they serve, they don't necessarily look like or relate to or sound like per se. So all those are walls for why athletes won't use those resources. So what we came up with was, okay, how do we change that narrative, knowing that there's a great need? So we said, okay, well, what makes this thing cool? For one, talking to a therapist based off culturally, it may not be cool, or just demographic wise, it may not be cool. But talking to another athlete, all right, that sounds cool. All right, so let's hire former collegiate and professional athletes. Let's hire them. Let's train them, get them certifications. So now they can talk former athlete to current athlete. All right, that's a cool idea. I can do that. And then we're B2B. So if you're a current athlete, whether you're in college or you're pro, you don't have to pay for the resource. So now you're more open to getting help. And then two, since the team or the league has already paid for it, you don't have to worry about it being charged in your insurance, which is going to create a paper trail, which you may feel like you don't want nobody knowing that you're getting help. So they might prevent you from getting help. But now if there's no paper trail because we're not charging insurance, you're open to getting help. And then three, the availability. Hiring former collegiate and professional athletes on the front end, and then having a list of licensed clinicians in the network across the country, the time zones and the states that they work in, they are able to help the athletes based off whether they're on campus or in season or out of season, at home or traveling, because they're in different states, unlike the team physician or the team clinical therapist for the team that just works in that state or that just works at that school. And then lastly, when it comes down to those that may be in college, they work from 9 to 5 because it's the typical office hours for a professional, as a clinician or a doctor, 9 to 5. Well, athletes schedule, they got morning workouts, training room, class, practice, weights, tutor, study hall. They're not available till after 5 o'clock. So if there was an on-campus therapist, they're not available when the athlete's available. And then lastly, the diversity issue. Some athletes might just not feel comfortable because, hey, you can't relate to me. You don't speak what I speak. You're not from where I'm from. So we're able to mitigate that by having a retired athlete in there that have played their sport, lived their life, maybe with the same background, maybe even the same culture, maybe even speak the same native tongue. So now I feel more comfortable talking to someone that I feel like I can relate to. They've been there. They live my life. They get me. And then once they get me, if they suggest I need to go see a therapist, I'm probably more open to it because it's coming from somebody that gets me versus the first line of defense. Oh, you need to go see a therapist. So we just wanted to create a whole new ecosystem, a whole new model that was well overdue um, and well needed to be able to provide mental health resources for athletes. And we've been able to do that. And now it's just continuing to scale and grow. We like to coin the phrase now, modern care for modern heroes, because every athlete we found is someone hero, whether they want to be or not. So we just want to give them the modern care that allows them to meet them where they are at.
Perfect. Thank you, Derek. It sounds a robust solution. And obviously, as you mentioned, knowing that others have been there, understand you, and resonate with your story or with your personal situation can help drive things forward. So that's amazing. And the other thing that I remember reading from the website is there's also the peer support, which helps a lot, right? So as you mentioned, you can relate to those ones, and then you might be able to trust to do things and think, okay, they've been here, they've done that, they know what I'm going through, and I can take this step towards my success and development, which is amazing. And as you mentioned, they're heroes, and they will help others look and see, because sometimes when you see the heroes from movies, it's okay, it's something that might not be reachable or doable. But when you see that's real life, and you can, like in the case of elite athletes, you can achieve those great things just because you push yourself, you do what you got to do, you have support in place, because that's critical. If you don't have the right tools and the support in place, then something might fall out through time, and they will not be able to achieve their full greatness. So
Absolutely.
I love the approach, and as you mentioned, like they're like real heroes, and really interesting to know how it works. And obviously, and I just want to confirm that there's like all in one. It's a digital care platform. And having said that, the approach is, let's say, for an athlete to go and have a full plan or support in every single aspect, or it depends, it's just more on demand. How does it work?
Gotcha. So yeah, so we're all in-house, one um well, multiple levels of care all in one-stop shop. So let's say you have an organization or a team and we're contracted, we decide the partner you want to use us as your mental health resource, and you have an athlete that says, hey, you know what, I think I'm not feeling my best, having anxiety, I think I want to get some help. They would go to the locker room or wherever you may direct them with your resources and say, hey, use Unrise. So let's say they scan a QR code, they go to our website, Get Care Now, and then they create their account. That's their first time using us. They've never been to a therapist before. So they sign up, they're going to create their account. The second thing it's going to do is going to take them to a resource page. Some of them, you might be in there and say, hey, you know what, let me read up a little bit on mental health or anxiety in this resource account. So I'm reading up on that. Okay, cool. That's cool. I think I'm ready to go ahead and see someone. They go to the step 3, which is the matching process, and they're going to put in information. The team or organization they with, their preference, if they rather speak to a male or a female, and their name, their date of birth, and then why they're reaching out. Hey, I'm having trouble focusing, not feeling myself when it comes down to the game, could use some help or just want to talk to someone. Once they put that in there, they will be matched with a couple of athletes, which now they can read their bio, look at their headshot, and see their availability. Based off what they feel that they're comfortable with, they're going to pick that person. Once they pick that person, they're going to be on their schedule, and that's who they're going to have their first peer-to-peer session with. From that point, they might have that session once a week for the next 4 weeks, or once every 3 weeks, or once every 2 weeks, completely up to the athlete and the peer-to-peer specialist. From that point, let's say they're talking and they realize, hey, the peer-to-peer specialist, hey man, that's a little challenging right there. We might need to get you elevated to see a therapist, because that seems that's a little deep. At that point, they can get put on a schedule with a therapist, still have their athlete mental health specialist that they're working with, and they might see the therapist once a month, but they can still be seeing their athlete mental health specialist every other week, just like they was already doing. And if needed, let's say they see the therapist and they say, hey, you know what? oh, you already taking some medication. Well, we need to go ahead and let's get you on a different type. Let's reduce the dosage or something like that. Let's say they're getting better. Now that therapist can elevate them to the psychiatrist for med management. So now helping them either wing off drugs or do something that's less strong prescription wise or whatever it may be. So 3 levels of care. They're all depending on where they need. So we try to meet them where they are. The first line of defense is just athlete talking to athlete, going through some questionnaires, some PHQ4s, certain different things so we can see where they are. And then some of them may automatically be triggered to go to a therapist, but out the gate, it's going to be athlete to athlete. So they get that warm, fuzzy, I get you, you get me understandability out the gate.
Perfect. Thank you, Derek. So pretty interesting the approach, and obviously it seems like you got it all covered, and you know from experience and the team on how it will work best and how it can support athletes. So thanks for that. I know we're coming to an end shortly, but before we wrap it up, I also wanted to talk about, I know the athletes have really great potential to go through their career to exploit it, and there would be a point in time that they'll be thinking what's next, how they can transition, how they can do a change, how they can maybe push farther if that's the case. And I know you have worked in a book that you shared with me the other day, so interested to give like a quick sneak peek to the audience and what is it all about, how it can support others on transitioning like a champion, as you mentioned.
I love that. Thanks for asking. So yeah, when I was in the corporate world and had figured out this whole sales thing, there was a piece that set, it was probably the purpose in me that felt uneasy. And what I figured out was the thing that I was doing and how I had success in the sales world was fast. I learned it from athletics, but I was not seeing a lot of my peers immediately transition and have success. And it bothered me enough where eventually I said, you know what? I'm going to quit this job. And then I accidentally wrote 2 books and 11 ebooks. The first one was called What's Next? How to Transition Like a Champion. The second one was called The Transition Playbook, which was a complete accident. And then those 11 ebooks I wrote very intentionally because I know in that point in time in my life, I didn't read a lot. So why would I expect more athletes to read too? So those were designed to be digital downloads, ebooks, really short to the point, but give you the content you need to help you where you are. So that was that. And from that point, the goal was to be able to speak to athletes transition into athletics and out of athletics, collegiate and professional. So that was the journey. So I get a chance to travel and speak to athletes transitioning in and out of sports now. But one of the biggest things that we get a chance to do on Unrise, we train all our athlete mental health specialists, some of the transition keys to look for and cues. So when they're dealing with athletes, they can help them prepare for that transition, because all I did was create a format that allows you to resonate, learn it, apply it, but also teach it. And that's called the transition formula. And it's pretty simple. It's T plus C plus C equals ST. And all that is the takeaway. So I believe in sports, there's good, bad, ugly, indifferent. A lot of things happen to you when you play this game of athletics. The biggest question you got to ask yourself is, what can you take away from it once it's all said and done? Once you are able to articulate or write down, hey, I was able to take this away, this away, this away, that's when you add it to the C. All right, how does all these things, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, that I was able to take away from sports, how do they correlate to where I am right now or where I want to go in the future? So this new career path, this new career, this new journey I'm on, how do I take those things I've already learned and build on them or use those right now to get me to where I want to go? Once you start realizing how they correlate, the next C is carryover. How do you carry them over? Because you can know them, but not to apply them, it's like not knowing them. So once you got the takeaway, you got to know how they correlate to where you are, where you want to go, but then you got to know how to carry them over. So once you figure out how to carry these things over and use them to your unfair advantage or use them to help you get ahead, then it gets to the ST, and that's how you have a successful transition. So we're able to teach that to our athlete mental health specialists that we train on a regular basis. Those that get the book can go through the process on their own, hear my story, see my journey, take away, put the notes down, actually walk through it themselves. But the name of the game is be able to give them a formula. So wherever they at, they could be already past the transition. They might be in the correlation phase of just trying to figure it out. picking up the book helps you kind of read it, see how I did it, and then say, okay, I can go take this and use it and apply it to my life. So that was what we was able to do. And on a regular basis, I believe that that book and everything that I get a chance to do helps put athletes in position to transition like champions.
Great. Thanks, Derek. And greatly appreciate all the insights you provided today, the support, and explaining us as well how Unrise works, how you came to all these focusing on what you've done through your career, how you can help others apply it and obviously become successful. So below we're sharing links to your social medias, websites, and also a link to schedule a call with you as well if someone wants to know more and learn more and how they can benefit from the support you're offering. So I appreciate your time and happy to have you here. Thanks a lot, Derek.
Thank you for having me.